top of the line tools out there. And that's a part of it. That's a part of their look and feel and the direction that they go in. So I'm familiar with it. I have to use it. And I've even in my own personal. Hi, everyone. It's April Harris with Inked April. And it's been a minute since I've given a update on things that have been going on around my illustration starting at 45 series. And so I think where we left off, I had just gotten a illustration job from a self-publishing author that found me through SCBWI. And that was really interesting. I wasn't quite sure how to handle it or what to do, but everything with her seems very up and up. Nothing suspicious like a scam because there are a lot of people like scamming illustrators and artists. If you're not familiar, you don't not realize that. That happens a lot. It happens in social media accounts, DMs, emails. I get emails from people who are like, I saw your art. Your art is amazing, and I would like to buy a couple of pieces for like $5,000. I've actually messaged those people. I mean, it was like a couple of years ago, and it was pretty obvious that it was a scam kind of thing. And they were like, we'll send you a check and then you send us some money and then we'll send the money back to you. And then, but this lady is very nice. She's in Texas and her project is a story about fairies. I'm not going to give away any details and things like that, mainly because I don't want to, share anything that, might mess up a launch or publishing of her series of stories. She does want to do a series of books, but I'm working on the first one. And it's a middle grade book, so it has little chapters for kids, who are starting out reading chapter books. So really cool. And it's just everything about the subject matter is something that is kind of like something that I've already created, like something that's already in my portfolio. And so that's really cool. And that's one of the things that really caught my attention about the email that she sent me. And she contacted me through email through SCBWI. And I was like, holy cow, it's like she's describing something in my portfolio. And that made me very interested. I actually talked with her on the phone. We had a really good conversation, just getting to know each other. We talked about kind of the feeling around the book, the kind of vibe that she wanted to have around it, and the thinking, of a larger series. And it's something that she, I could tell immediately that it's her heart's work. So it felt there's a little pressure there, but it also made me feel much more, what's the word? Excited, interested, wanting to do the work with her and wanting to do my best work. And so I started with the character designs. There are four main characters, and I did some sort of some ideas around that as far as what those characters would look like based on descriptions that she's already got in the story. And she shared so much really great information with me. I personally, as an illustrator, have no issue with someone who's hiring me to share with me sort of like visual inspiration for me to think on. Because I don't know, and I don't know if that's like the graphic designer in me, but it feels like a really helpful way to communicate with me about what it is that she's looking for, right? Like, I'm a visual thinker, and sometimes words just aren't enough for me to understand exactly the direction that you're wanting to go in. And so, inspiration or things that a client might be excited about or interested in, a look or feel, that kind of thing, that's something that is, I find really helpful. I've had people send examples, like generative things that they've done and come up with, and I'm not offended by that. I don't think there's anything wrong with that as far as being an artist and an illustrator and someone sending me generative stuff. As a graphic designer in my day job, I have to use generative AI. It's in everything. It's part of the software now. And the team that I work for, they're futurists. So they need to use the most innovative, top of the line tools out there. And that's a part of it. That's a part of their look and feel and the direction that they go in. So I'm familiar with it. I have to use it. And I've even, in my own personal projects, have used generative AI to think of concepts. So, for instance, I might have sort of a theme, that I think, man, I would really like to do some work around, I don't know, what were some of the things that I came up with? So, like feminist, mother, female empowerment, strength, wisdom, and I would put these prompts into the thing, and I would say, like, give me 50 ideas. And of course, if you use your brain, you can look at these. Look at my Zoom has on the eyebrows. It is very confused by my new hairstyle. Don't mind my eyebrows, you guys. But if you use your brain and you read through the list of ideas, it's obvious that they're very like stale, incomplete, not quite right, not interesting, not 100% the idea, right? Because it'll say like a woman in a forest holding a butterfly. And I'm like, okay, yeah, and you know, but with the list of 50 ideas, I could say, okay, maybe, but this one down here talks about, like a raven on the woman's shoulder. And that I find interesting. What if I put the raven with the woman in the forest and then maybe make her into some sort of royalty, or, maybe she's sort of like a witch and she's, I don't know, praying or hexing or, reaching out to the moon or, I mean, like it's like, okay, they've given me a series of words in a list. Now, do any of these inspire me? Do any of these kind of go together? Can I mix and match or twist them around to something that I actually do want to make? So it's not like, okay, I'm generating ideas. I'm going to go and do that idea, do that idea, do that idea, do that. It just doesn't. If you're really using your brain and you're thinking about it, you're not going to be inspired by what the generative AI shoots back out, you know? And so that's one of the things that I've used it for. I've also used it for kind of speeding up the process of character design, and I've done this, like I have books in my mind that I would like to create and make. And in particular, it is a fairy book, but the main character, little girl, I had originally drawn her small as a fairy, and then I wanted to draw her larger as a kid and in different positions. And so I was like, man, really struggling with that. Like, how can I transfer this character that I've created this one way, but, sort of change her into this other type of character and then have different perspectives of her. And I was struggling with trying to get that. And so I, as the artist, illustrator, chose to enter my artwork. I didn't say, copy this thing or whatever. I said, this is a character that I created. Please give me, a front view, a side view, a back view, a profile view, a three-fourths view where I can, see this character from multiple directions. And of course, what it gives back to you is not the character. And it's not something that you take into your software and outline or something like that. It's never right. It's never, you're not getting it just right. And so it's a tool. It's a tool to think about things, to change your perspective, to get some ideas about things. Like I've put back in some of the phrases that it's come up with for artwork ideas based on a series theme sort of thing, like I was talking about, and been like, make this thing, and it comes back and it comes up with some interesting variations on that idea. But of course, it's never just right. It's never exactly how you would want it to be. And that's one of the things that really bothered me when generative AI came out and people were like, it's giving me exactly what I wanted. I was like, that's impossible. Like, if you really had an idea in your mind, had an idea, had a visual concept in your mind of what you wanted, it's not going to give you exactly what you were thinking of. It may give you something near that, or I don't know. And maybe it's like the non-visual and people that, are easily sold on that kind of thing. But I have pretty much never gotten back exactly what I was looking for. And I don't know that I ever will, And I mean, I know that generative AI is going to get better, but I don't think it will ever suit me because I'm going to want to be creative. I'm going to want to put my idea in the bucket. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to want to make it mine or make it have something unique or interesting or a twist, that I thought of without the generative AI, right? So, anyway, as an illustrator, if you're a client of mine, it does not offend me. Now, I'm sure that there are artists out there who would be offended and who do not like that and are very against it or whatever. I'm embracing it as a tool to use, not as an answer, not as the final solution by any means, because I've just not gotten what I've exactly needed in any case, not in any case. If anything, it's like, doing sketches in a book for an hour, prompt. Okay. Maybe that one kind of works. I still need to work on it. But anyway, she gave me a lot of visuals. She had a book that had these really cool, like fairy costumes that were made out of actual like plants and flowers. And it was just so cool, so interesting. I even tried to find the book online to see if I could find, because it looked so cool, like something that would be a really good reference. Because as artists, we like references. We like to have something to kind of, build an idea off of, basically. So, working from that information that she gave me, created some characters Then began working on the cover in December. I actually went to a SCBWI Illustrator Intensive in Savannah. Going to make a whole video on that. Very cool, very interesting. Holy cow, once in a lifetime experience. But I actually signed up for a cover intensive and very cool. Very cool, very helpful, very interesting. Got to actually sort of pick the brain of someone who has done this for many, many, many years and, get advice and show sketches and get some, sort of feedback there, which has inspired me to do more sketches of the cover. And then eventually I was bringing it into, and I'm not meaning literally bringing it into like a sketch from my sketchbook, but re-sketching it and working on it again in Adobe Fresco this time. And just really, just kept building on it, kept working on it. Just recently gave that to her. We've got some revisions, and she's just been the coolest client. She's been just so wonderful. And part of me really was a little concerned because, it being the first middle grade book that I had worked on and feeling sort of a pressure of this is her everything. She loves it. This is her stories and her characters and things that she's been thinking about for a very long time, and bringing that to fruition. I'm always concerned that a client will go in a negative, start taking a negative path. And by that, I mean start overwhelming me with revisions and ideas and change this, change that, do this, do that, and taking away my agency and taking away my voice on the project. And I wasn't sure, how that was going to go, but it's gone well. She has not done that in any way, has been very amiable to my ideas and my thoughts and my experience, and being able to add, my own flavor to things, which is the reason that she contacted me in the first place. So it's been really great, and I've been working diligently. I still need to do the full page grayscale illustrations for the inside of the book. And I've got a couple of spot illustrations that I want to throw in there, and all of this to be done by mid-February. And I'm so excited. I really think it's going to be super fun. And I'm thrilled. I'm thrilled with the process. I'm thrilled with everything about it. But it kind of gives me a place to say, okay, you know, this is what this feels like. And do I want to keep searching out these types of projects? Or do I want to, you know, work in editorial or like adult, you know, how did I feel? How did this project particularly make me feel about that? And so far, so good. I mean, I've really enjoyed it. It's really challenged me and also been super fun. So going really well there. And I haven't been doing any murals. They haven't come back to me for any murals lately. So I've been able to really focus on her illustrations. I did get contacted by another person from SCBWI, but I was unable to make their meeting because I hadn't been feeling well, and so I haven't heard back from them. And I'm not going to like hunt somebody down, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not in a space to do that. I'm gearing up for season 7 of Art Talk with April. Very cool. I've been contacted by so many people who are interested in being on. I've gone through people's portfolios, looked at their websites, and have kind of been like, okay, this person would be great. This person would be great. This person would be great. So right now I'm getting those artists scheduled for interviews, and then I'll start publishing those probably in March. And I also have several art shows that I want to be a part of. I would like to be a part of all three of the ALWCA art shows, two in Huntsville, one in Birmingham. Fingers crossed that I could get into those because you have to apply, and that's super fun. And I also have another art show here in Birmingham coming up that is sort of an invited art show. So, like, only certain artists were invited to be in the show. And that's super cool. And I'm so excited to work on that as well. I'm actually going to be using an artwork. I have a lot of artworks that could go into that show, but there's one in particular that I've just been so happy with that I'm like, okay, this is the one that I want to put in there. So I got to finish that up. All of these things, like you've got to enter an image, you got to, do pricing, you got to get things framed or mounted or whatever. And it's just the first few months of a year, it's like, this is art show season. So I'm doing everything I can to like participate because I've paid for memberships and I want to be involved and I want to be a part of the community. But at the same time, I've got my own life stuff, going on. And so it's interesting. I'm pushing myself, but I'm also trying to be smart about it and using things that I've already finished, almost finished, perfect for this show, perfect for that show, because I guess, sort of prolific in that way. And I'm always making and I'm always doing things. I tend to have something that will fit a call for art. And so, I just take something that I've been working on and that has been hanging on my wall back there and enter it in, take a picture of it, enter it in, give it a name, give it a price, and that's pretty much it. So it's not as stressful, but it's like one more thing on the list. It's another it's another box to check. Oh man, that eyebrow is going crazy. You see that? I'll just stay real still like that. No, no, it's not happy with that. It's like I know an eyebrow goes behind here somewhere. It's so funny. Thank you for watching and being on my channel. Like the video, subscribe. Please come back, and I hope you enjoy the upcoming Art Talk season. I'm going to be also sharing a video about my experience in Savannah, which was super cool, and maybe share some like pictures or something. So check back soon. Thank you for watching.